It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS. I know this already happened, so I'm just gonna trip Eric up and drop it so that he has to talk about it. There's only two reasons why you hire people, Eric. There is the hiring that we all like, which is because you're growing like crazy and you need to expand your capacity. And then there's the hiring that happens when your manager steals a car from you. So can you tell us of all the hiring that you're doing, how much is growth-minded hiring versus replacement-minded hiring? Give us that. Let's get a little update on your business. I want to get into the multi-location business because I know it's not easy. Like I know, like there's so many awesome parts to it and so many terrible parts to it. I want to hear your update on it. But even before that, I just want to hear the story. I've heard bits and pieces of it, but now it's like the open platform of the story of how you got it's not even really like a car stolen. I'll just let you tell it. I can't even define it. Go.
So I'm gonna have to agree. I'm still trying to define it myself. Fortunately, we already had a guy in-house that we were able to transition to kind of take his position, or we've got to like, we're good. You know, we're going to hopefully bring somebody up and put him in that role, and it's going to work out. So we're not actually looking.
That's fortunate, man. Like there's nothing worse than being shorthanded and being like, oh shit. Yeah. We don't have anybody.
So honestly,
was he like a GM or what role was this Yahoo in?
So he was the operations or production manager for our second location.
Is that the head guy in charge there? Like he was number one there?
He was the number one head honcho.
Yeah.
And
a guy you'd think you could trust.
Indeed. He was actually doing pretty good. You know, he was making that place his own and kind of really got everything put together. And it felt like when you walked in there, like you felt like you were somewhere, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was kind of finished, like where we left off. So that was cool. Like he kind of made it his own. He was figuring it out. We were still working on some stuff. You know, he'd only been with us since the last week in March, I think.
Okay, so a few months.
Yeah, so not like crazy long.
How'd you find this guy? Did Blue Skies recruit him for you, or was
they did?
Where'd he come from?
Blue Skies.
Okay.
I don't know. We probably should have left that out.
No, I mean, like, hey, you hired his ass. It's not our fault, dumbass. Why'd you hire him? We set him up. You knock him down. What'd you knock him down for?
I think, he was doing good. Like I told you before we got started last month, month of May, we had like a 68% gross margin. Like,
yeah,
it was fucking awesome. How did it happen? So when we hired this fella, he had a car. Obviously that was an important thing. He had to have a way to get to work.
You got to get to work. That's neat.
He had to not really drive a lot, but a little bit of, putzing here and there, grabbing stuff from like the hardware store or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I guess it was looking back now, I'm like, those should have been some like red flags.
Hindsight is 2020, man.
Do what?
I said hindsight is 2020, man.
A few times he'd come over to our main location for, like a meeting or going over like some little bit of like office training or whatever.
Yeah.
He'd always rent a car, which was
weird.
And he was riding his bike to work a lot, which I was like, whatever. My man wants to be active, and he had all his gym stuff at the shop, and like he was, physically fit kind of guy.
Just an exercising son of a gun.
I'm like, you know what? If you want to drive your bicycle down the interstate, I'm not, but whatever. Have at it.
Yeah, hey man, I get it. Maybe he was like a little bit of a planetarian, just trying to help out.
Yeah,
save some fumes.
So he told me he was looking for a car. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then he was like, hey, do you think we could advance my salary or my bonus or whatever so that I can get this car? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know that I can do that. Let me run the numbers and see where we're at. Like,
there's these things called banks. Right. And they're really good at lending people money. That's like actually what they do for a living.
And so I said, well, let me know what you need. Because I'm thinking he wants to go like put a down payment to buy a car. Whatever. Yeah. He said, let me know what you need. And if we can make it work, we'll make it work. If we can't, sorry about your luck. And then I was doing something. I was looking at like credit card statements on like a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning or something a couple weeks ago and going through everything. And I see this charge. I'm like, well, that's different.
I don't remember that one.
And it was for Auto Bid Center. And I was like, well, that's different. Let me look it up. And it was an auction place to buy cars. And I'm like, huh, that's peculiar. So I really didn't know what to do. I kind of sat on it for a day because I hadn't posted yet. So I'm like, maybe it was like not actually, maybe this isn't real.
This is just a dream. It's just a dream.
I said, let me give it a day and see if it actually posts. So it did. And I'm like, all right. So I sent this fellow a message. I was like, hey, I just saw these 3 charges for a little over $6,000, and I'm on the phone with American Express to dispute it. I just wanted to confirm that you don't know what this is about. And just plain as day, he responds, I do. I did make those transactions. So yeah, I was kind of taken aback. And then
excuse me?
Yeah, I think my exact words were, on what fucking planet does this sound like something reasonable that you should do?
Yeah.
And he was like, here's the kicker. And to this day, I've never gotten hey boss, I fucked up. I'm sorry. No. What I got back was
with it. He's just taking this one to his grave.
I will email you shortly to explain how I will repay you the money.
Like from the get-go, the intent for him was, I'm going to buy Eric won't front me the money, so I'm going to buy it with Eric's money and apologize and then pay him back later.
Yeah.
And or not pay him back. Probably.
So he kept saying like, oh, it was just an impulse decision. I think his exact words were, in order to 100% commit to my roles and responsibilities, I made an impulse decision to buy this car for myself. Something kind of close to that.
In order to keep my job, I made a decision that will get me fired. Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.